You know someone who's always talking about money, always showing off. Always upgrading. Always one deal away from changing their life, and yet, something doesn't add up. The car is expensive. The savings account? Empty. The watch is luxury. The credit card? Maxed. The lifestyle looks rich. The reality? Drowning. This is called being fake rich. And it's an epidemic. Here are 10 signs that expose it, completely. And fair warning, some of these might hit closer to home than you expect. They bought the cheapest version of the most expensive brand. Base model BMW. Entry-level Gucci belt. Starter Louis Vuitton. No upgrades. No features. Just, the badge. Here's the truth nobody says out loud. A fully loaded Honda Accord costs the same as a stripped-down luxury sedan, but the Honda has better tech, better reliability, lower maintenance. The fake rich don't want better. They want the emblem. They want a stranger in a parking lot to glance over and feel something. And here's where it gets brutal, that base model BMW comes with luxury maintenance costs. Premium fuel. Higher insurance. Expensive parts. You paid entry level to get in, then paid luxury level to stay in. The real rich buy status after building wealth. The fake rich buy status instead of building wealth. That's not a flex. That's a trap with a three-pointed star on the hoe. Every conversation somehow circles back to them and their finances. You mention a restaurant. They bring up how much they spent on a trip to Dubai. You talk about your weekend. They mention a deal they're working on. You share good news. They hijack it into their own highlight reel. Within 2 sentences, notice something specific. They always talk about money they're about to make. Once this deal closes. When this investment hits. I've got something in the works that's going to be massive. Always future tense. Because the present doesn't match the image, and watch for this one. They confuse revenue with profit. My business did $500,000 this year. Okay, but what did you actually take home? Genuinely wealthy people are surprisingly quiet about money. Not secretive. Just, they don't need to prove anything. When someone won't stop talking about how rich they are, they're not talking to you. They're talking to themselves. A $4,000 handbag. $800 in savings. A $10,000 watch. A credit card bill with 4 digits of interest. This isn't success. This is a costume. There's a rule that doesn't lie. If you can't afford to buy it twice, you can't actually afford it. That designer item impressed exactly 0 people who matter, and created stress that lasts for years. Here's what nobody says at the checkout counter. Some people are financing luxury purchases. Monthly payments. On a handbag. Paying 20 to 30% interest. On something that's losing value the moment they walk out. By the time it's paid off. They've spent 30% more than the sticker price. On something now worth half of what they paid. Wealthy people buy luxury items too, but those items are a sliver of their net worth. Not a chunk of their monthly budget. One is a celebration. The other is a performance. And performances are expensive. You get a promotion. They got a bigger one. You went on vacation. They did 2 weeks in the Maldives, business class, obviously. You bought something new. They explain, in detail, why theirs is superior. Picture this, someone at dinner shares that they just bought their first home. Before the table can even say congratulations, the one-upper jumps in. Oh, that's cute. You really should have waited for something bigger. When I bought my first property. And just like that. A real moment of achievement gets swallowed by someone's insecurity wearing a suit. Here's what one-upping actually is. It's not confidence. It's fear. Fear that your win somehow makes their win smaller. Fear that if they're not the most impressive person in the room, they don't matter. Genuinely successful people can celebrate your wins without flinching. Their self-worth doesn't depend on being superior in every single conversation. The fake rich need to win every exchange. Because deep down, they're not sure they're winning at all. If it's not posted, did it even happen? For the fake rich, no. Literally no, the experience isn't real until it's validated by strangers online. The purchase isn't satisfying until there are comments about it. The vacation doesn't count until the reel is edited and uploaded. And social media rewards this behavior. Spend $1,000 at the mall with me, gets 2 million views. Watch me add $1,000 to my investment account, get 600 views and a comment calling it boring. So people perform prosperity. Because performing prosperity pays in attention, even when it doesn't pay in actual money. Here's what to watch for: comment sections full of bots. Bot followers. Engagement that feels hollow. Because they're not just faking wealth, they're faking the audience watching the fake wealth, layers of fiction stacked on top of each other. Meanwhile, check any list of the world's wealthiest people. Most of them have almost no social media presence. They don't need strangers to validate what's in their accounts. Leasing a car sounds smart. Low monthly payment. New car every 3 years. What's the problem? Here's the problem. When you lease, you pay for the years a car loses value fastest. You're literally financing depreciation. A $50,000 car worth $30,000 after 3 years. You just paid $20,000, plus interest, for something you never owned. Then you hand it back. And sign another lease. And do it all over again. Lease. Return. Lease. Return. Someone who does this for 20 years has paid hundreds of thousands of dollars, and owns nothing. Not 1 cent of equity. Not one asset. Just receipts. But here's why the fake rich love it: the payment fits the budget. The car looks expensive. Nobody knows you'll never own it. That's the whole product. The illusion of ownership without the reality. Counterfeit goods. Let's be direct about what this is. It's not a budget hack. It's not clever. It's paying money to advertise that you want to look like something you're not. And here's the irony that nobody talks about: a decent knockoff costs $200 to $300. For that exact same money, you could buy a genuinely well-made original bag. Real leather. Quality construction. Just without the famous logo. But that's not the point, is it? The point is the logo. Not the quality. Not the craftsmanship. The name. And the people you're trying to impress? The ones who actually know luxury. They spot it across the room. Wrong stitching. Off placement. Cheap hardware. You paid $250 to tell everyone that you wanted to look rich but couldn't quite get there. That's not a flex. That's the opposite of a flex. Forex. Crypto day trading. Dropshipping. Options. MLM, infinite banking. Some revolutionary opportunity that's going to change everything. If you just get in now, the fake rich love these. Not because they work, but because they operate entirely in future tense. They're not talking about what they've built. They're talking about what they're about to build. The potential justifies the current lack of results. Here's the pattern: they go all in. Talk about it constantly. Try to recruit everyone they know. 6 months later, they've quietly lost money. But they don't mention that. They've already moved on to the next thing. Same energy. Same confidence. A trail of failed ventures nobody ever mentions. Because admitting failure would shatter the image they've spent years constructing. Real wealth is built slowly. Boringly. Over decades. The fake rich need drama. They need something happening. Even if that something only exists in a pitch deck. You mention you love your apartment. They say you're wasting your potential. You're driving a paid-off used car. They ask why you haven't upgraded. You're saving aggressively. They tell you you're doing it wrong, and recommend whatever they're doing. The advice is always unsolicited. And it always points toward their choices, specifically. Here's why. They need you to validate their decisions. If you're thriving with a different approach, it threatens their narrative. So they don't ask about your goals, your timeline, your situation. They just tell you you're wrong, because you doing things differently is a mirror they don't want to look in. Genuinely knowledgeable people know that different strategies work for different people. The fake rich need everyone around them to be doing the same thing. Because deep down, they're not confident their way is working. Look at the wealthiest people in the world on ordinary days, not galas, not press events. Just living life. You'd walk right past most of them. They have nothing to prove. Their confidence doesn't come from what strangers think of their outfit. They could buy anything, so they don't feel the need to prove they could. The fake rich operate from the exact opposite place. Every item is a statement. Every accessory is evidence. Every outfit is a billboard. And here's the cruel irony. The louder the display, the more it reads as desperation. Not success. When everything you wear is screaming, "I'm rich," nobody believes it. Here's the thing, the fake rich optimize every financial decision around one question: what will this make people think of me? The actually wealthy optimize around a different question: does this move me forward? One path builds wealth. The other one performs it and gets more expensive every year. The designer wardrobe needs updating. The leased car goes back and a new one comes in. The image needs constant maintenance. And the whole time nothing is being built underneath. So check yourself, are your financial decisions actually serving your future? Or are you slowly going broke maintaining an image? Real wealth whispers. It doesn't need to be seen. It doesn't need to be validated. It exists whether anyone notices or not. The goal was never to look rich. The goal is to be rich. Choose wisely.